Rebirthology, where soul remembers how to be limitless. Rebirthology, how do you rise so free? Limitless love, that's the code in me. Born from the ashes, polished in gold, I'm the story my ancestors told. Rebirthology, limitless living. Mind meets mystic, soul keeps winning. Limitless, 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 limitless. Rebirthology, where soul remembers how to.
Welcome, 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 Lottie Dottie and everybody to our Rebirthology check-in. This week is a loaded week, and so those of you who are first timers here, I'm LaTanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits, and I'm here to be of service today. Shout out to the tribe. How are you? I want to not waste a lot of your time today. Let's get into this week, honey. We're going to be talking about manifestos because this is manifestation energy. Let me lighten up the energy in here. Okay, so this week we've had a lot going on. This was the fattest Tuesday ever. In fact, it was Fat Tuesday, the fattest Tuesday, meaning Mardi Gras is already considered Fat Tuesday, where you indulge, right, before you go into the Lenten season. But I think it's been about 150 plus years since all of this has lined up. This is a very special week, very special week. So what I mean by all of this, let's get into it, okay? Because we have just experienced a cosmic reset. And my question to you is, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I think I've been singing this song, I don't know, since we came into this energy so far. But so yesterday was the Lunar New Year, also known as the Chinese New Year, which opened up a whole portal of celebration in China, just like the folks were out second lining, parading, reveling in New Orleans. They were doing it in China. They were doing it in the Caribbean countries. In Brazil, they were in Carnival, closing out Carnival, and then going into what's known as this Lenten season. For those of you who have been influenced by Catholicism or any of that, but this season can be used for any person who honors a 40-day period of reset before the true new year. So now we have the Lenten season and we have Ramadan. The Muslims are observing Ramadan, fasting and praying during the day, restraining and refraining from anything that would upset them, which is free game for this particular week. We also yesterday had a new moon in Aquarius. So we got a new year, a new lunar new year, a new solar eclipse, which I told you about. See my last video because we spent quite a bit of time, right? And then, you know, and now we are in a new season of discipline and reflection and choice, you know, because this is about choice. So normally Holy Week is something that is practiced the week of quote unquote Easter or the spring equinox. The point is, for those of you who have deconstructed and you're no longer governing yourself by the church calendar, the mosque calendar, the ATR calendar in that way, but you are a free bird, it's still going to be the equinox. It's still this time leading up to the new year. So guess what? When they say that God is the God of second chances, we have had second, third, and fourth chances, because coming out of December, really around the October, November time is for those of us who are preparing for the Gregorian calendar to change. Well, that was a chance to get ready before the Gregorian calendar change. Then coming into January, there still was this renewed energy, but the energy was so intense that many people was resting and sleeping more, not really studying what the stellium that was a heavy earth stellium. Okay, what is a stellium? Go check out my old videos. I'm just doing a review. And so now we come into February's energy, which is the lunar new year, not the true new year, because we are all on a circadian rhythm based off of the equinoxes and seasons. They tell us everything. So today, what I would like to do is to go a little deeper, right? I want to go a little deeper into this week. In my book, My Juicy Rebirth, which I'm going to be preparing for a little bit of an upgraded version, is a manifesto. And Spirit said, hey, look, for those of you who are not in our sacred space and you're not practicing or living juicy, this is an opportunity for you to consider how you can incorporate this practice into your particular work. So in my book on page 13, which is the number for the Divine Mother, the primordial and ancient mother, is our juicy manifesto, right? This is, and it says, let us begin with what we intend to manifest together now and later when you take your juicy journey. The juicy journey is something you can take at any time. This is a living document that continues to rebirth the lives of women who embark on the journey for the first time and those that return to its shore for another voyage. So it describes the juicy journey and all of that. But in this week, we're not here just to be busy. This is a threshold week. Right? The energy is strong, Megan. Thank you. Hey, Karen. Hey, Antoinette. I think that's safe storage. Yeah. But this is a cosmic reset of identity, of authority. And this is where the Neptune dissolves illusion, right? This is the influence that we're under. And Saturn defines structure, because while the eclipse energy is still present, we're not out of this eclipse energy yet, right? It's still very much present. So I want you to just drop your sun sign. If you have it, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Yeah. Let me make sure that I have the right Facebook page. You know what? I messed up. I didn't have the right Facebook page on. So let me go on and add that. I probably should remove the other one. Yep. Remove the other one. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, I was moving so fast. Okay, so we have Taurus, Pisces, Cancer, Gemini. Okay, good. So I'm gonna when I get to some specific energy, if you haven't watched my last video, I'm gonna start with you all because you're here, right? So again, if you didn't hear my opening, just tune in to the replay because I had it on the other channel. Okay. All right, Leo's in the house. Okay, so you want to hear this again. This is not a week to just be busy, not to force anything. In fact, if you are a woman who's tapping into your feminine, this is a week to be strategic with your energy, to govern your energy. Okay, so this is a cosmic reset of identity. I talked about Neptune dissolving illusion, Saturn defining structure because it's at 0 degrees, one of the most intense points for a planet to sit. And we're dealing with origins right now. And so basically old spiritual or religious fantasies are going to collapse. But it could apply also to spiritual fantasies, because we're talking about embodied truth is required in this season. Okay. So this is not about dreaming a new life, adding more to your goals. This is about deciding who you're going to be and willing to be accountable for what it requires for you to become it. And so a manifesto is something that I really want you to consider, because a manifesto is not, I'm going to talk about what it is, right? It's a living document, as I just said, right? It is a manifesto it anchors identity. It prevents spiritual drift. You know why you are doing the work. You know why you're praying the prayer. You know why you are shifting your behavior or removing something from your diet, adding something to your diet. You know your why. And it turns desire into direction. Now, I want you to just put desire in the chat, because desire is the foundation of feminine energy. Desire. So many people try to force us, those of us who are feminine leaders, alpha females, to oftentimes mimic the energy of the patriarchy or the masculine, right? In terms of drive. And then when we're not performing, we tend to judge ourselves. Any alpha females, can you relate? Thank you. Can you relate? I want you to remember, because desire, when we go to the etymology of it, means of fire. This is a fire and air week. So guess what? You want to tap into the thing that burns inside of you to do, the thing you desire, and not just for performance and to prove something on the outside. This is something that you're craving. This is an experience you want to have, even if it is resting, even if it is working smarter, not harder. Even if it is having a season of being taken care of, where you're not taking care of everybody else. This is a season where, if your voice has been suppressed, that you will find confidence to use it. So I'm giving you some tips, because you might need a pen. And if you don't have a pen, come back to it when you do have a pen, because I want you to first break it down to the Aquarius new moon. Okay, let me go on and add this little graphic here, right? Right. This is just a graphic representation of all of the energy, that if we could see it in a graphic, how it feels, what it feels like that's happening. And we are sitting right at the threshold to decide whether you are going to cross into this threshold. It's your choice. This is not about force. Aquarius is a higher vibration. What's up, Freddie? What's up, everybody that's saying hello? Greetings to you. Welcome on in here. So the new moon energy alone, let me tell you something about new moons. Prepare to do something tonight. You do not do new moon type of work when you feel like it later on, because you bring that energy into the thing that you're looking for. New moons is about activating when the energy is the most potent, because every day after the first day, which is yesterday, it begins to wane. So you don't want to plant your seed of desire in the waning energy. You want to plant your seed of desire now while it's fresh. Am I jugging your memory? Can we keep talking? Tell me, keep going. Can I keep going? Can I keep going? Or wait a minute, y'all do this. Okay. So Aquarius energy governs the mind, the nervous system, and collective patterns. Aquarius is a high-minded energy in service to humanity, in service to a mission bigger than itself. So this is also about you calling on the thing that's bigger than you, bigger than your limitations, bigger than your worries. What is it that you're being called to that you can be of service to someone about? So it is the Aquarius new moon is about rewriting in internal scripts, detaching from inherited belief systems. Did I say that? Aquarius is the divine disruptor. It provides the revelation of things that we didn't know, because Aquarius energy, when it's not healthy, thinks that it knows everything. But a healthy Aquarius energy explores, discovers, reveals. Okay, so you with me? All right. So now this new moon is not asking you what you want. What do I say all the time? Want comes from lack. This is why we're using desire, because want focuses on what you don't have, what's not there, what you need to do to get it. That you can get that anywhere. I'm not talking about that in here today, right? The new moon, it is asking you, what are you willing to stand by? What are you willing to stand up for? What are you willing to stand in? Because some of us who are empaths, who are feelers, who are gifted, I'm leaning heavy on those of us who are gifted to that oftentimes have played small, minimized, reduced our gifts to try to fit in, to try to be acceptable. This is the season for you to stand fully, even if you have an opinion and you haven't been sharing it. Ouch. I tend to avoid sometimes all of the trending topics, because I want my nervous system to be regulated by me and not a trending topic, not a controversy. You know, I love comedian Lil Duval, who says, what y'all blank upset about this week? What are you rallying about this week? Okay, so now how do you tie it in to the lunar new year? This is about identity. Remember, this lunar new year energy gives us a reference. I'm not saying that it's final. If we just use Western energy, planetary energy, this entire year is governed by fire and air. Shout out to fire and air signs. All right. But this is a timeline where we get to shed the old self. Now, see, the moon, we talk about lunar, we're talking about the moon. So that means that we have to up our wattage on our emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. Okay. And so this is important because the wood fire horse energy is about movement with intention, not just being on automatic. I get up, I go, I shower, I get ready for work, and then after work, I get back in traffic and I come home and I eat, to do it all over again. That's not there's a difference between routines and being on automatic. And sometimes we have to disrupt even the routines that are no longer serving us, or take away to reinforce something, that type of thing. This is about growth in this season, in whatever you're choosing. How does it grow me? This fire is a channel sacred fire. Think the medicine wheel, not just chaos fire, fire out of control, fire where you got to call in the fire department. Not that kind of fire. But we also need to know that we don't need to play with fire. We have to direct it. I want you to also think about the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? There may be something that has needed to burn away from you. Maybe your anger. Like sometimes something is burning, but it's not full, right? It's just anything could put it out. Anything could cause it to explode. but we're talking about a sacred fire where you can sit by it and it warms you, but it won't burn you. This is the thing that we need from the inside out. So this manifesto that I'm talking about gives us somewhere to go, a reference point, our words put into a living document without scattering it. Okay. So let me talk about Lent and Ramadan. These are ancient technologies, right? This is very important. You don't have to be Christian or Muslim to understand a sacred season that someone near you, probably who you work with, that is observing it. Now, if you're observing one thing, they're observing another thing. And let's just say somebody we don't know is observing and practicing. We've created a sacred energy that is paying attention to ourselves, being mindful. Observation is a science. It's really the highest form of spiritual science as well, not just in a laboratory. But when one of the things that most scientists do, and if you know anything, when you had to do a science project, the first thing you had to do was observe something. Are you even observing yourself? What is your life giving you feedback about? You may feel it, you may hear it from somebody else, you may sense it, you may get downloads about it in your dreams. You may have, it could be something that you've been putting off, and the time is now. Both of these traditions, Lent and Ramadan, is about removing excess, detoxing, right? It is about training desire, disciplining desire. Food is one of the greatest ones. How many of you have fast regularly, right? How many of you fast? There's several types of fast, but right now I'm talking about food fast, because if we can fast from food by choice, then whenever we need to cut back and reset our body, our nervous system, our organs, it is the quickest way towards health, even if it's intermittent fasting. Even for those of my sisters who are menopausal, intermittent fasting is a game changer. But when you intermittent fast, it's important to stay hydrated. It's about herbs. Anyway, I don't want to go into that other side of me in terms of holistic health. So I'll talk back to me. How many of you fast regularly? How many of you have never fasted? How many of you do it occasionally? How many of you even need support? Because in the portal, in our tribe, this is a good thing to partner on. It's good to put it out here in the atmosphere, because somebody in your tribe may say, hey, I want to fast with you. Okay. So they teach us to focus without force by choice. You all hear me talk about this all the time, is when you can choose your activity, when you can choose your next step. Okay, shout out. There's one person in the chat that does some fasting. If you intermittent fast, that counts, right? If you don't have to do it just when it's church wide, the Daniel fast, whatever kind of fast you do, fasting is important. But fasting from certain words, certain thoughts, certain conversations. Even somebody sent me something from the Epstein files, and today, and or in the other day, I think I probably get something every day, because some people are still just coming online to how horrific this thing is. And I decided, hey, I've had enough. I'm not taking it into my spirit anymore. I'm done with that. Hearing children, the way the children are crying. Humanity. This is a wake-up call for humanity. This is not about Democrat or Republican. And anybody who's just pushing that and not talking about these children and these women, yeah, I'm looking at you with a side eye. Really, I don't care who you are. If you so wed to a party, then you drank the Kool-Aid, and you looking at other people thinking they drank the Kool-Aid. But shout out to those of you who didn't, and you are horrified by it. But at the same time, we need to protect our spirit. I didn't plan this in my notes, but it came up. So let me just say this. There are people who have experienced violations and abuse. And Can you imagine the triggers? Because they are the ones who screamed for help. They are the ones that told people and received the backlash. They are living in your own bloodline. Do you have as much anger for the people and the children? Even if you were I'm not saying that you need to be walking around in toxic anger and rage. I'm talking about there is a righteous anger. There's a justified anger, that a justified feeling about all of this, right? And so, but do you understand the triggers that are happening out there for people who have been violated? Do you understand that this is not, it's not natural? It's not even really human. Hint, hint. The people who do this can't be of the human species. Can't be. Okay. All right. Let me get on off of that. I need to get off of that. But I see more of us need to fast, because I only got one person that's talking about fasting. So we need to talk about some fasting. Yes, Karen, you right, babe. Be fighting mad about it. Because who's going to fight for the children? Where are the missing children? Oh my God. Don't get me started. Don't y'all put nothing else about no Epstein, nothing else. So in this portal, let's talk about this manifesto. I want you all to hear the words of the manifesto in Juicy in a moment, right? Because we're talking about turning desire into direction. What a manifesto is not, though, is it is not hype. This is not spiritual hype, spiritual bypassing, just words on paper. It's not that. It almost should move you to tears. It's not just about affirmations either for avoidance. This is about something in you that must shift in order. In other words, the manifesto answers, who do I have to be in order for me to have what I say I desire? Who do I have to become? But it also addresses what you're not inviting into your field. It's not about control. It's not about hustle. It's not about goal setting. It's none of those things, right? This is not even about vagueness. This is very specific. So you need some time to consider it if you haven't been already. So Saturn, this is why it works, because Saturn provides structure. It addresses discipline. It also governs time. So it's helpful for you to use this time wisely. Neptune removes delusion. So if you are one who just said, I just want to surrender. What do you want to surrender? Why do you want to surrender it? Where do you want to surrender it? Okay. Aquarius rewires thinking. If you know you have stinking thinking, most of the time it's somebody in your life that's giving you feedback, or your bank account is giving you feedback, or your body is giving you feedback. You're burnt out and tired. This week is not about doing more. It is actually very much, because we got another magical portal day coming up on the 22nd, by the way. Those shout out to the 22s, right? The master teacher number. So we're going to have a sacred lineup on February 22nd, 222. Okay. So listen, the universe is giving opportunities after opportunities to help us to realign us if we use this energy, right? This lunar cycle is about internal. When we say lunar and the moon, we're talking about our emotional health, right? This is the perfect time for us to look at the parts that nobody else sees but you and people very close to you. Manifestos don't just push reality. They tell us what when the noise is more clear, because sometimes you can write a manifesto and come back and say, oh my goodness, all of this manifested, and you weren't tracking it because you moved on with your life. But let me tell you what's powerful about this manifesto that I'm telling you to write. It's when you can post it, because the manifesto technically is really supposed to be public. It really is good to have a witness. So if you're in the portal and you're doing this exercise, don't be shy. Post it so your sisters can see it. It needs a witness. Post it on your refrigerator. So when your boo comes by, they know, wait a minute now. Oh, this is what we're working with. Sometimes you need a manifesto for your marriage. Sometimes you need a manifesto for your business and your business partners and your team. Okay, let's keep going. Not a mission statement, by the way. A manifesto is not a mission statement. That's different. Okay. So this is what I want to share. I told you what a manifesto is. I told you why we need it, right? I told you, but I want you to hear a little bit of the manifesto that I think that many people, sometimes I do make assumptions that people know. I do. I've been great. I've been blessed to be around so many communities, awakened communities, that it truly is a part of the natural conversations with my friends. And I can text a cosmic note. I can text a strategic note, a business note. I can text my human note to my real friends, where like nobody's going to judge me because I have a meltdown. I have mentors that I can go to for guidance, and I highly recommend it. And why? With my big grown self, yes, I do, because they've been on the planet longer than me, and they've been practicing alchemy-based traditions longer than me. Okay, so they have recipes that I don't even know yet. That I still got to write down. They can pull it out. So here's what this is, the manifesto. It says, consider this manifesto as a decree. I want you to hear an example. This is why I'm doing it. Shameless plug for my book. If you haven't gotten it, you can go to the link in my bio and get the book. Hurry, get this version. A new version is coming soon. Yep. I said it, so now I got to do it for sure. See, that's another manifesto. Consider this manifesto as a decree to activate your own journey to juicy. What is juicy? Joyfully unveiling intimacies, creative or sometimes courageous. Yes. Juicy is not just about, body fluids. Juicy is a process. Juicy is sacred. What man has made something perverted and low vibrational, the awakened woman, so when we talk about the juicy woman embraces her life as a series of cycles and seasons, much like the butterfly. Okay, I'm not going to read all of it to you, but here's where it goes. Thank you. What's up, Jasmine? Here's how the juicy breaks it down. In her personal power, the juicy woman accepts that she has a cape and has been superwoman, leaping over tall mountains of obstacles, met them and overcome valley experiences that became her superpower. She celebrates being her own shero. That's personal power. Now, I had to write this to the reader, right? Of course. So, but you can go right into page 13 through to 15, and you can go right to this page, and you can start saying, okay, let me break my down. What's my decree for personal power? Okay. Then the next part, in her desires, the juicy spirit woman may manifest super feats because of her yielding to the divine within, yet no longer needs to move through life faster than a speeding bullet. She slows down because she is willing to savor the moments of her cravings. What are you craving? In your manifesto, you can write, I am craving ... You can get specific. So you have a guide in my book. In her process of becoming, this is the next phase. The juicy spirit woman comes to her process, surrendering to the microwave results that strip her nutrition and toxify her desire at the risk of leaving traces of disappointment and spiritual amnesia. That's what microwave results do. It strips us of nutrients and leaves traces of disappointment. Instead, here's the decree. She chooses a slow cooker approach in the way she notices herself, her power, her sex and sensuality. Okay? Now we go to the next section. In her financial affairs, the juicy spirit woman chooses herself as an act of worthiness and wealth. As a woman willing to shift legacies, she is responsible for her own feminine economic development plan and luxury as an act of service to her contribution to the world. Can y'all feeling this? You can define this for yourself. She embraces her business as pleasure and mixes the two every chance she gets. This integration is her orgasmic abundance trademark. In her love, how many of you need some love? Don't you want to have a manifesto about what you're calling in around love? The juicy spirit woman understands that she is no longer at war or indifferent to the loving she accepts. You're not indifferent to the loving that you want or that you desire and accept. Instead, she is willing to risk stirring the pot of her vulnerability and authenticity in order to have her desires make room for her, as she defines how she relates to her partner in a way that is co-creative, not codependent. She opens to conscious loving that grows and challenges her versus unconscious agreements that suck the life out of her. Have you ever been in a relationship with unconscious agreements? Have you ever been in a relationship that sucks the life out of you because there are things not communicated or communicated poorly? Well, what do you want to manifest now? This is why, even if you've taken vows of marriage vows that you didn't write, and if you wrote your marriage vows, this is like a manifesto is like this vow between you and God, you and the magic, the abracadabra of life. Okay. In her bloodline, this is the next section. This is for those of us who honor ancestors. You got a decree there too. The juicy woman leads with forgiveness of herself first and foremost. She is no longer the sacrificial lamb of others. She interrupts patterns, even if her mother and foremothers could not or chose not to, as an act of constantly freeing herself to expand to love deeper, wider, and fuller. You may have grown up with the message, all men are dogs. It's only a few good men out there. Ain't none of them. Who are you having conversations with those women? Have you created another contract? Because if that kind of woman was in your ear, it's in your spirit. And if you're entertaining at the beauty shop, some of you at the barbershop, the limited supply of love and good partners, then guess what you will create in this quantum energy? Come on, somebody, ouch or amen. Because it's easy to trauma bond with other people who've been traumatized in relationships, because the real shero, the real juicy woman may have been wounded and hit hard in a relationship, but she does not make any decree about not ever loving again and not and distrusting. But there are people who have secret oaths never to trust again. Okay, but so that's not any of you. So this is not a spiritual bypass, by the way. She is the healing balm to her bloodline, even if her blind spots are not hers. Sometimes the blind spots we carry are the blind spots that's in our bloodline. And that's why sometimes it feels so hard. That's why sometimes it feels like you keep repeating patterns. because you're clearing something that's a blind spot for you. But what if you wrote a decree to show me, create in me a clean heart, renew in me a right spirit, show me to myself? I was taught that by my mentor to pray that. That's a bold prayer to pray when you want to see. I'm not done. In her darkness, the juicy woman knows her shadow. She knows her shadow. And she calls herself on her own bull when she is hiding, when she is playing small. See, if you do the shadow work, you know when your ish is up. And sometimes you may not know. And there are people who you have been in partnership with, friendship with, spiritual mentorship with, who will tell you about this BS. And guess what? The response is uncomfortably, oh, wow, I didn't see that. I need to look into that. So in fact, her juicy self gave up the mask of pretending not to hurt. How many of us pretend like we're not hurting? How many of us say that everything is fine? I'm okay. I'm all right. How you doing? You okay with this? Yeah, okay. How many of you, if you got Libra placements will make you a people pleaser, even when you don't want to be. So you may want to write in your manifesto, I am now healed from all people pleasing. But guess what? You got to match that with an action, with something that you are decreeing and declaring. I tell the truth, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. Okay. I'm just giving some examples. I know I'm going fast. I know I'm talking a little fast. I want to leave a little time for you all to be able to ask something. So in her darkness, desire, rest, and restoration, and or pain is not the only thing that gets her attention. Okay. Now in her pleasure, the juicy spirit woman expands and elevates pleasure beyond poorly understood sexual power and profane, low vibrational definitions by systems that do not love women. Can I say that again? Every definition, that perverted definition of pleasure, is defined by people who do not love women. I don't care if they have bishop in front of their name, if they have elder, prophet, if they do not honor the sacred womb of a woman as the source energy. Oftentimes there's a distortion of what pleasure is, especially for women. A woman's pleasure threatens people. It threatens other women who are bitter and frigid. It threatens men who can't control themselves. And sometimes it threatens the people that we've been in service to, because there's something about pleasure that frees you. Anyway, the last line in Juicy says, her orgasm serves her and her vision. She invites others to partake. You don't owe it to anybody. You owe your orgasm to yourself, your orgasmic life, your orgasmic words, your orgasmic love tank. Even orgasm should not just be relegated to the little girl's orgasm. Now, there's two more sections. In her elevation, the juicy spirit woman elevates her pleasure, her passion, and her purpose as priceless yet worthy of her investment of time, attention, and commitment. Yeah, it's priceless, but it's worthy of your time, your attention, and your commitment. Yes, your elevation is priceless. Yes, your pleasure is priceless. Yes, your passion is priceless. Yes, your purpose is priceless, but it's worthy of your time, attention, and recommitment in some cases. She cannot be bought or auctioned off by fear, shame, and threat, even if it's the only thing she's known. If the only thing that a woman has known, and she's your friend, because I know it's not any of you, if all she's known is fear, shame, and threat, that woman oftentimes is, y'all are not the same. You may look it, you may wear the same types of designer clothes, but if even the most salacious, trending woman in her attire does not mean on the inside she's still not operating from fear, shame, and threat. That's poverty consciousness that will make you say, by any means necessary, give me the loot, give me the loot, give me the loot. In her sacredness, last one, the juicy spirit woman becomes a living scripture. And her pulsating, throbbing vibration transcribes the manna of her soul into a spiritual manifestation and holy reference for women to be lifted and free to define their sacred relationship uniquely and unapologetically. This manifesto, as an example, can be found. And guess what? I have also rewritten it as a separate document so that you can also see it, feel it, and take an oath to it. I will make it available for you by the end of the day if you want. We're talking about, just a love offering. Pay what you can. I have to set a minimum, I think, in my system of like $5 or something like that. But I want to offer that to you all. And the link, if you are just tuning in, will always be at the link tree, Rebirth with Latanya. I'm going to make that available to you all. I just wanted to focus in. How did it feel hearing the juicy manifesto? Did it give you any ideas? Is somebody have any ideas, and you have one line that you want to drop in that I can support you in refining to get your juices flowing? Did it help? Okay. All right. Yes, Tamara, Anika, yes, I am priceless. Yes. Okay, okay, so your belly leap was, say that again about the threat, huh? And we have the juicy spirit mama of Magnolia Princess herself, Karen, who said, I stop acting fine when I'm not. Come on now. That could be a part of your manifesto of when you tell the truth about how you're feeling, that what you need begins to show up in service to you. So this is a good way. See, I'm giving you some free game, Karen. I hope you got that. Okay. You scared? Tell me why you scared. Say more about why you scared. Or you mean sacred? You're sacred. Sacred. Okay. All right. Say, I'm willing to let go of my younger self sexual life and step into my sexual being. All right. So use your name. So I gave some of you who are in the portal some tips on how to focus this down and give it a certain vibe and theme, right? So what are you calling forth in your manifesto? I said the juicy spirit woman, but what are you? So you can say, what is your name for it? I am willing. So what's your name? Say your name. And give yourself something, that describes the energy that you're carrying into the year. Find one word. So I am willing to let go of my younger self, or you can say, I summons the sexual being, the healthy sexual being that overrides any of the old programs of my younger self. How about that? How about sacred hood joint? I don't know what that name is, but I like it. No judgment. I want to call you by your name. You can put it in there. Put that in there. Anybody else want to give it a try? And why? I want to know if there's something you heard, even from what I read, from the Juicy Spirit Manifesto as an example. Also, my book is available, an ebook. You can purchase the ebook, and you should get a bonus Yes I Can Manifest manual as well. So I should add a whole bundle of Yes I Can Manifest. How many of you want me to do a bundle? The Juicy book, Yes I Can Manifest, and then your example of the manifesto. I could do that. I could do a little bundle. Okay. Oh, I like this, Tekoa. I owe my orgasmic life to myself. You heard that in the manifesto, and that's I love it. I love take what you take from it. Take from it. You write it exactly, but also customize it. Okay, let me see. What else she said? My light invites others in who honor it and themselves. And I am willing to stay lit when others cannot, but releasing them to find their own light. That's perfect. Honey, you are a juicy she rose, honey. You are standing fully in your lived experience and expression, honey. You live juicy. Yes, you do. That's part, how we say? Very well, good. You heard it in the manifesto, Tekoa. You like that? Anybody else heard something in the manifesto that made your belly leap, and you want to take it and put your spin on it for yourself? What page was it on, Juicy? Okay, yes, honey. Read this manifesto every day. It starts on page 13 and it goes to page 17. It's right in the front of the book. This is why I'm going to do another version that really goes deeper into this exercise and activity. How many of you have done a manifesto before? My pleasure, my love. Thank you for asking. Okay, wait a minute. Somebody said something else good. I stopped holding apologies inward for the weight of my presence. Ooh, that almost made my eyes sweat. Yeah. You see that? Now put that into the language, perhaps, of when I said her shadows. I embrace the weight of my presence without apology. And my presence attracts others who can hold their own weight. Baby, you have to be able to move in your weight class. Because if you are heavyweight and you are around lightweights, they'll make you think something is wrong with you, especially for those of you who walk in Scorpio energy. Scorpios, honey, you are intense. You have it, and wherever you have Scorpio, it's an intense aspect of yourself. Okay, you said I'm letting go of controlling relationships with money and love, knowing that I am worthy. Now I want you to get more specific with that. See, this is where it gets tricky. We could get into a spiritual bypass but I want you to get more specific with the control in relationships. Call yourself out. So write the statement about yourself first, right? Tell the truth. Face yourself in this. And then dress it up a little bit, right? Okay? All right. Who said please and thank you? What are you saying please and thank you for? I'm delayed. Y'all got the page for Juicy? Somebody put it in the chat for somebody coming back to looking. Okay. Look at this. Belly leap. I am free from all people pleasing. But jazz it up. Jazz up the part of you and face that part of you that is afraid. One of the things that we don't do enough of is when somebody has said something about you, particularly as a youth, a young adult, or a person finding your way is we don't come back and override it. And that spirit that's spoken over your life sometimes can be a spell. Now, this is a difference between taking self inventory. This is different than what we find in my mentor's book, Spiritual Hygiene. That's different from that. This is also different from difficult conversations. So feedback is neutral. Hear this from me. This is something that we have to teach in a private and sacred container. Feedback, when you're sitting down to resolve something, to explore something, is neutral. Sometimes it will, somebody else's truth can piss us off, but if we wanted to, it can set us free. And that too can be a part of your manifesto. Another good reference for working on your own shadow and declaring yourself is the 4 agreements. 4 agreements. I'm going to look at the 4 agreements for myself today as I write my updated manifesto. Look, I love this. Chantel is no longer the fixer for others when they didn't ask for my help. Now, you know, I talk about this in Juicy, Chantel. I said it like this. I said, Spirit showed me where I was placing my tit or breast in other people's mouth, symbolically, who did not ask to be fed, and get my feelings hurt when I came trying to nourish somebody who was already full on their own BS, full on their own supply or somebody else's. And here I come saying, here, this can help you. This can nurture you. They didn't ask for it. You know, even sometimes with elders, I've learned even with elders to allow space to let them ask. And then I check back and say, okay, you saying that you want this? Don't get me started on the generations. You're not gonna put me in a trick bag. Okay, let's listen. This is powerful. I'm no one's leader until I can be my own. Okay, now see that right there, do re mi. That is what we consider in spiritual science a denial. Fine tune this manifesto, because the manifesto is more like an intention statement. And so you can use that to build. But yes, you got the right thing. You got the right energy. So say it in a positive way of what you're giving to yourself in the process. Okay. Girl, you ain't never lied. So I hope this was useful to you. Anybody want to do any ahas, favorite frames? You already told me your belly leaps. Tell me if this was useful to you. I would recommend that you govern yourself accordingly. Practice good sacred stewardship of your energy for this entire week. And I wouldn't rush to do this exercise. I would write it out until you feel it. As women, we need to tap into our feeling more than just this. And sometimes writing something that we want to share with other people can be scary. This is my love offering to you, to pay it forward, to say, hey, this is something that you can do during this week in our spiritual communities, in our sacred relationships. Sometimes it's not easy knowing what you know, but baby, when it begins to show up, your faith comes by hearing. Okay, so thank you, Megan, for capturing the favorite frame there. Okay, my manifesto prevents spiritual drift. You got it. and anchors my identity. You got it, Megan. Okay. Okay, good. Watch the replay and share it with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to my first post of the year that liberated me and draw me from as I rebuild my. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, good. It may be something that you wrote in your journal, and it may even be a difficult conversation that you had. So listen, I am doing a rebirth by design session. If you are interested in rebirth by design, and when you want more evolved ways of matching your vision, your project, whether it's a business project, a personal project, or relational project, with your divine design, with your particular power zones. The only way to do that is to come in, and you can put RBD in the comments, and I will get the link to you. The link also will be in my bio, the link tree, Rebirth at Latanya, and you can join us in Rebirth by Design. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm so glad that this was juicy. If you're juicy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're juicy and you know that juicy is more than just down there. This juicy is an elevated way to your saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to the desires of your heart. You're living in your yes. The only goal of juicy is to get you to your yes. Body, mind, and spirit. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll see you on the other side. Ciao.